When I was about 8 years old, my dad made me get a hunting license so he can drag me along whenever he goes hunting. I think my dad took me along just as an excuse so he can bag more squirrels. We would usually go in the early mornings before the sun would come out. However, something happened on one of those trips that changed me forever. On this particular hunting trip, we arrived at Sonora pretty early. It was about 5 a.m. and it was still pretty dark out. Everything was still kind of a blur. Anyways, my dad, as usual, gave me my .22 caliber long rifle, along with a fanny pack full of bullets. He always reminded me never to shoot unless I can get a clear shot. I would tell my dad, yeah, dad, I took the class already. I know how to shoot. He would say, remember, just in case if we ever got lost or separated, we should shoot 2 times into the air to let the other people know that you are lost or if you're trying to pinpoint your own location. It was some kind of code, and I would think to myself, they didn't teach us that in class, so it must have been something that the hunters came up with as a way to find each other. They had two-way radios then, but they were too bulky, like the police radios, and they were far too expensive for the adults to let the kids play with. We made our way up a steep hill and walked along a dirt path that was kind of narrow. By this time, the sun had came out, and we were met with a beautiful sunrise. About 10 minutes into our walk, my dad said, wait here, I need to go take a leak. So, I stayed put, with my gun in my hand, aiming at the trees with the scope. But, after a little while, when my dad failed to return, I started to panic, and started to call out to my dad, Dad, are you coming back? Dad, where are you? But my cries were met by silence. I started walking in the direction of my dad, not knowing what was ahead of me. Suddenly, my dad popped out from under one of the bushes and told me, Hey, I just got done. Let's keep on going. I figured we were going to continue on that dirt path that we came from, but my dad grabbed my hand and took me in the opposite direction. While we were walking, I was thinking to myself, why is my dad holding my hand? And where's his gun and backpack? I asked him, Hey Dad, did you forget your gun and backpack back there? He said, I don't know. To me, it didn't sound right. I then asked, why would you not know? Are we going home? He didn't answer, and just kept pulling me deeper and deeper into the forest. After about a 20-minute walk, I suddenly hear 2 gunshots that sounded like it came from behind me. I thought to myself, hey, someone must have gotten lost or is trying to find someone. So I told my dad, should we reply back? He still didn't answer and just kept on walking. Then 2 more shots followed, and now I started to get scared. I said, Dad, stop. But he didn't, and just kept on walking. Then I yanked back my hand, and he stopped in his tracks. I took a few steps back, and his face turned towards me. The person in front of me wasn't my dad at all. It looked like someone who had already died, and their face had started to rot. I turned around and started running back as quickly as I could. I was screaming from the top of my lungs, Dad, help me! Where are you? As I was running, I can hear footsteps from all around me, chasing me. Then, I stopped to catch my breath, and I heard, I'm over here. Come over here, son. I'm over here. Don't go. Come back. I then began to run again, and it felt like an eternity. Then, I tripped over some rocks, falling flat on my face, and I blacked out from there. I don't know how long I was out, but when I awoke, I was being carried by a park ranger who had found me and was taking me back to his patrol truck. I asked him, where's my dad? And he replied, Your dad is fine. He flagged us down and he had us come looking for you, son. You had us all worried. There must have been 3 to 4 other Ranger patrol trucks in the area looking for me. When we got to the patrol truck, he pulled out a first aid kit and applied a bandage over my forehead because of a cut I had suffered from falling down. He took down our information for his report and said we were good to go. Then he spouted something about how a lot of people would go missing every year in the woods because they didn't take the proper safety precautions. My dad then turned to me and started asking me, "Where did you go? I told you to wait for me." I can tell from his facial expression that he was very angry, but at the same time, he was super worried. Tears started flowing down my eyes, and I hugged him really hard. I told him, "Dad, I'm never going hunting with you ever again." The park ranger then suggested that we head home for the day. The ranger then gave us a ride back to our car, and we packed up our things and headed home. On our drive back, my dad said he thought I just wandered off and had gotten lost, but I told him of what happened, and he said if it was an excuse and to stop lying. I told him it was the truth. When we got home, my parents asked a shaman to come look into what had happened. After the ritual was completed, the shaman said the spirits of the forest were not happy with my dad. Apparently, him and his friends had killed so many animals over the years in that forest, but not once offered the forest spirits anything in return. So, that day, the spirits were going to take me away to teach my dad a lesson, but it was a good thing that my dad's ancestors were able to prevent that from happening. Apparently, from what I heard, when I was passed out, my ancestors shielded me from the forest guardians and asked the spirits why were they going after someone who was innocent. The forest spirits replied, "Blood must be paid with blood, and my parents owe them a debt. If this debt is not paid, they will come for me." My parents then had to offer a pig and a goat to appease the forest spirits and vow never to offend them again, just to get me off the hook. And from then on, I never went hunting ever again.
Like, share, and subscribe for more content like this one.